Welcome to Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. I'm so happy to be back. I hope that you all enjoyed the summer shows that we shot for you and you had a chance to see them all. But I'm so happy to be back to every week, and we're going to have some great guests this season, I promise you. What better way to start my season off by bringing on some of my favorite people. So joining me today is a familiar face. She's absolutely lovely. Sharyn Ayliffe, General Manager of Theatre Orangeville. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me back.
I'm so glad you came on the first show back for the fall.
It feels very fitting, doesn't it?
It does, because your season is just beginning at Theatre Orangeville.
Yeah, we're just about to kick off. We're a couple weeks out from the add-on presentation that starts the season, and then it's off to the races, and it's our 30th season, which is really exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I haven't been there for all 30, but I've been there for a good chunk of those.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you are the resident expert. Yes.
Yeah, one of a few that have definitely been around for that, that decade plus marker. So yeah, it's really exciting to be coming back for this season and to be celebrating a big banner year.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the show, the add-on show that you're bringing on this season, the very first one.
Yeah, we've got Whiskey Jack presents the stories and songs of Stompin' Tom, which is a huge crowd favorite with our patrons. There was uproarious laughter and excitement and joy when we had announced that one at Starlight back in the spring. So I think we'll have a bunch of nice full houses for that one, which is exciting. It's only there for 3 days though, so if you're interested in seeing it, it's one of those don't delay, because it is just the add-on presentation. So it's kind of like a little
teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser, a little hey, remember we're here and it's fall and come on back and join us. So
well, who doesn't love Stompin' Tom? I don't care how old you are. And if you don't know who Stompin' Tom is, open up your phone, do a little Google search and figure out how iconic he is, or was. Sorry, and I can just imagine this show is filled with stories and song, I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely. And the presenter that's bringing it in, Whiskey Jack, led by Duncan Fremlin, is phenomenal. It truly has done the show a bunch of times before, so it's really comfortable and is absolutely well within its groove and is absolutely phenomenal. And they've got lots of promo material up that we'll be sharing and things like that to give people a little sneak peek into what the presentation will be, which we can't always do when we're producing theater because it doesn't exist until we've made it. So it's kind of a neat opportunity to give people a bit of a sneak peek into what they can expect at that show.
Okay, so let's move on after Stompin' Tom. What comes? There's a lot coming up, so what comes up next?
Yeah, we've got 5 fantastic main stage shows. The last couple weeks of October, we have The View from Here, which is a story written by Jamie Williams, who's a Theatre Orangeville favorite. He is actually starring in the show as well, opposite Mel Jansen, who's another Theatre Orangeville.
I love Mel.
Another Theatre Orangeville alumni that everybody just adores. It's a really sweet couple as they sort of start embarking onto that retirement kind of phase of life and the huge change that comes with that and what that transition is. It's a comedy. It's such a sweet show, and Jamie and Mel are phenomenal, so we're excited to kick things off with them.
That sounds great, actually. I mean, I'd love to say, I'm not going to age myself and say I want to retire. I mean, I'd love to retire early, but I mean, just that whole process of making the plan and how different that would be. And I just know that Mel and Jamie are so funny that I can imagine it's going to be absolutely great.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal, and they're even better together. So we're really lucky that the two of them are going to be able to bring this show to the stage for us.
And then after that one?
After that one, we have a Theatre Orangeville first, which is very, very exciting. We are doing an original show, a world premiere, called Cinderella If the Shoe Fits. It's a pantomime, and it's the first time Theatre Orangeville has ever done a pantomime. David Nairn, of course, our fearless artistic director, and Debbie Collins, who's comedic musical dancing genius, are actually writing it together, and
Amazing.
We've been workshopping it over the last few months, and it's getting closer. It's going to be hysterical, and it's not something we've ever really done before. They're writing it in such a way that it will appeal to all ages. There'll be those jokes that sort of fly over perhaps the younger members of the audience, but then also has a lot of humor and comedy and music that's timeless and really applicable to all ages. So we're really excited to bring pantomime to the Theatre Orangeville stage.
Well, I was just going to say, there may be some viewers out there that don't know what pantomime is. So what is pantomime?
So traditionally, pantomimes, it's a British theater tradition, very popular in Canada as well. It's almost kind of farcical. It takes often well-known stories. So fairy tales are very popular, hence Cinderella. And it sort of shines at them from a different light. The characters aren't necessarily played by, actors of a gender that you might expect. It's very topical, it's very funny. It's all supposed to be just a little bit, okay, maybe a lot of it, over the top. The show will sort of change from day to day. One thing that's really typical with pantomime is including topical news. So if our dear Mayor Lisa Post makes some proclamation in council, or there's some, juicy town gossip that happens at council, who knows, it might just make it to the stage that week. So it'll be a lot of fun, and it's all in good fun. It's all in good jest and that kind of thing. But it's going to be an absolute riot. I've actually sat in on the first workshop when they were going through the first draft, and it's very funny. Debbie and David have done a phenomenal job, and I really can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it. I really can't wait to see it. I think that I think it's just going to be. It sounds amazing, and I've seen Debbie Collins in action, and she actually was on Dufferin Life a couple of years ago, and she is hilarious, and she's just something to be seen, as is David. So
yeah, and Debbie will be in the show as well. So those who are thinking, oh, I love Debbie, it's such a shame to for her be behind the scenes. She's both. She's doing it all, which is like the Debbie Collins special. So it's gonna be a riot for sure.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Well, I don't want to keep anybody waiting. We want to make sure we get through everything. So what comes in the new year?
So in the new year, once we get into the later part of February, we have Doris and Ivy in the Home, which is a Norm Foster comedy. Norm Foster, of course, Canadian favorite. For those who remember Jonas and Barry in the Home from our stage many moons ago, more than I care to acknowledge, Doris and Ivy would be sort of the female counterpart to that show. So another, exactly what you expect from Norm Foster. It's topical, it's relatable, it's very funny, super charming.
Always witty.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be a crowd favorite for sure. And then as we get further into the year, we have another world premiere. We actually have 3 world premieres this year, which is very exciting, by Kristen De Silva, called By the Light of a Story. It is a romantic comedy. It will be the one that you want to get your girlfriends together and, go for a glass of wine and come to the theater, and it'll have all that kind of rom-com kind of feels. It's also in the process of being written right now as we speak. We aren't even in the workshop stages for that one yet, but are super excited to see it come along. Kristen De Silva is a brilliant writer and is so good with character development, and again, funny, relatable, charming. It'll be a really good fun for everyone kind of show.
When I think of Kristen, honest to goodness, and I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the sleeping bag scene in Sugar Road.
In Sugar Road,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was so so funny.
Honestly, the entire, I don't even think the audience knew what to do. It was just so hilarious. So.
Yeah, she's really great at finding those moments that you latch on, and I mean, that show was years ago and it's stuck with you. So that's what you can everyone's come to expect from Kristen De Silva, right? It'll be a really a nice fleshed out story with great characters, but it'll have those little moments that you'll take home and laugh about for days after, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, what's up for number 5?
So number 5 is our 3rd world premiere of the season. It is actually, there was a workshop for it this week, which is really exciting. So it's an ongoing process. It's called the Darktown Strutters Ball. And It's written by Leslie McCurdy.
Okay.
And it's going to have a real, well, for anyone who's not familiar with Darktown Treasures Ball, that's another Google project for sure. But it's going to be a throwback to the 1920s and very musical, a sort of discovery on what the Darktown Treasures Ball was and where that's come from. Leslie will also be in it. We also have Cassell Miles, who had brought Josiah to our stage in 2021, working on that project as well. There'll be live music on stage, a band. How many band members yet to be determined, but for sure at least a couple of them, and some local talent being included into that one as well. It's a period piece, so it'll be gorgeous, and the music will be nostalgic, and I think it's really gonna draw in all of our usuals and hopefully some new patrons to us as well.
Well, I was just thinking about that while you were talking. I was thinking, I've been to the theater many, many times, and I love it. And the way that you were describing that show, I mean, just it's just like walking into another world when you've just, driven 3 minutes down the road and parked your car and gone in. And for those people who are thinking, well, theater, it's just too for me and I'm not sure about it and whatever, you just have to go. It takes you from your world into another world, no matter the piece that you're watching, and you leave elated, you're joyful. It depends on the show that you're seeing, but I mean, like, you just feel just a sense of happy.
Yeah, and that one will be fun too, because not only are you getting to experience someone else's story who's perhaps come from a different place than you have, a different life experience, but it's a historical piece too. So we'll sneak a little history lesson in there as well, but in a really subtle way that you don't even realize it's happened until you go home and think of all the things that you now need to Google.
Absolutely.
And learn more about.
So you have a Googling project. You have a couple of them, and I'm just gonna remind you where you can find all the information, all the dates, all the ticket information. It's at www.theatreorangeville.ca, or you can call the box office at 519-942-3423. We have just about a minute left, and I want to make sure we touch on CPOS, what's coming up for
Creative Partners on Stage.
Yes.
Yeah, Creative Partners on Stage is coming up in September. It's very, very close. We've got directed by Liz Glenday. Our cast are back. It's the second one we've had back on stage. This is a show that we had planned to do before the pandemic happened, and they've re-rehearsed and remounted, so we're really excited to have that on the stage. You should definitely check that out. And again, because we're short on time, if you don't know what Creative Partners on Stage is, all of that info is on our website. It's an amazing program.
It is.
And it really brings the community together.
Well, happy anniversary, Theatre Orangeville. Sharyn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It was truly my pleasure. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hey, I'm Chef Corey Dern, host of a show on Rogers TV Georgina called Cooking with Corey. Join me bi-weekly for brand new episodes where I teach you not only what to cook, but how to cook. On this show, we have cooked almost everything. Things like Japanese udon noodles with tofu, chicken on the rocks, zucchini fritters, and even grilled cheese. There's only one thing missing, and that's smell-o-vision. That's Cooking with Corey, right here on Rogers TV Georgina.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Allison.
Coming up on the next episode of The Parenting Show, we're talking about psychoeducational assessments.
Have you ever wondered whether your child should be assessed?
That's only on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. If you're just tuning in, you're tuning in at a great time. We're going to be talking about an event, a huge event that's coming to Dufferin County. And I'm thrilled to introduce you to Anne Thompson. She's the media coordinator for the International Plowing Match and Rural Expo. And I said it all. Anne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me tonight.
Wonderful. So for those people who don't know what it is, let's talk about what the International Plowing Match and Rural Expo is all about.
Well, it's a very large footprint in the community that will attract about 70,000 people tend to come to it each year. And so it has its own little infrastructure. We're going to have a tented city with tents filled with entertainment, with displays, with exhibitions. There'll be food vendors throughout the tent. So that's all part of what we call the Rural Expo component.
Okay.
And then, of course, it is about the plowing, because this is it is a competitive match for the plowmen that are there. And so then we will have fields where there is plowing demonstrations going on in both horse and with tractor as well.
Okay. Now, I'll be honest, never did I think that 70,000 people would come out to something like this. But and you can tell me as much as you know or as little as you know with regards to how long has this been happening and where did it come from?
So you know what, this is the 104th edition. So this has been going on for a very, very long time. This is the first time it's come to Dufferin County. It travels around each and every year to a different municipality across the province, and that's probably one of the hallmarks of the success of it, is that by coming to a different community, the essentials are there. You know, the plowing, the entertainment, that type of thing. But it also gives each and every county a different chance to put their own spin on it, a chance to drive visitors, tourism to their community, because 70,000 people is a lot of people. Here in Dufferin, for 1 week, that will mean that visitors could outnumber the people who actually live here. And so that brings with it, of course, tourism and economic opportunities. So there's a huge economic drive engine to this piece.
Okay.
And so that's why they like to move it around to the different parts of the province.
Well, I think that's absolutely fantastic and phenomenal. I was going to make up a word there, but I think it is because of the way that you're describing how you know, the economic drive. I mean, that can do wonders for businesses in the Dufferin community. So before we get too far into talking about what to expect, let's talk about where and when.
So it's going to be in September. So it kicks off the 19th to the 23rd are the official dates.
Okay.
But I have to say there are still things that are happening outside of that window. So for example, on the 16th, Saturday the 16th, there's going to be a Campfire Poets concert, which of course the Campfire Poets are very popular here, Orangeville based, popular all across Ontario. And so there's going to be Under the Big Top outdoor concert in the RV park on the Saturday night. On the Sunday night, there's going to be a worship service, again in the RV park, that's bringing about 8 different people from across the community participating in one way or the other. And then the big day is Tuesday, which is opening day, with parades and an opening ceremonies and VIP plowing and all of the good stuff. So there's a lot of energy that day, and it runs all the way through to the Saturday for the 5 days, with an awards ceremony on the Friday evening as well.
So that I'm just trying to think about the amount of people and where are we doing this, because where do we fit all of these people?
So the land base is the critical piece, is one of the first critical pieces to deciding where it's going to be in a host community. And so it is going to be held in a little place called Bowling Green, between Laurel and Grand Valley.
Okay.
And so not too far from the Amaranth Township facilities, for those that are familiar with Orangeville. But it's really easy to get to. It'll be well signed. And so there's, I'm not entirely sure of the number, but probably 600-700 acres or thereabouts that's been dedicated to this, because of course we need, as I say, we need the footprint for the infrastructure for the tented city. We need parking for maybe 5,000 cars. We need the RV park. You know, I think last night I was at a meeting and there's already over 500 RVs that are already booked into it. Then of course you need the plowing. So it's a huge footprint that we need. So it kickstarts with the willingness, the genuine willingness of the host farm families to participate and commit their land to hosting this.
Well, that is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, as an event planner, I understand what goes behind it, but planning something to that degree, to that size, is just, it's impressive.
It's massive, and I know you mentioned that you've had one of the co-chairs, Don Van Kampen, here before. It is a huge team. There's no getting around it. It's a huge team that it takes to pull this off. It's put on jointly with the local committee here, as well as with the Ontario Plowmen's Association themselves, who have a very small core group of staff. And so I would say there's about 40 to 50 committees that are committed and have been committed for the past year to putting together their programming for this event. So we are upwards of around 600 volunteers, and before the event comes, I'm pretty sure we'll pass the 700 mark of what we need to pull this off.
Wonderful. So do you need volunteers from the community?
You know what? You never say no. You always need more volunteers. I know that many of the teams are full, but certainly, as happens, things happen in life. Something comes up, somebody that may have committed suddenly can't. So absolutely, it's not too late. If anybody wants to get involved, they can volunteer on the website, www.plowingmatch.org/IPM 2023. It will click in there. You'll see how to volunteer, because as I say, this is a once in a lifetime, once in a generation opportunity. As I say, this is the 104th. It's never been to Dufferin before. So it's unlikely that it may come again. And so we want to make sure that everybody in the community, business, individuals, have the chance to participate if they want to.
Well, and I think it's a great, and it sounds like an amazing platform for businesses and local entertainment, and just, you know, supporting the local community with whichever county this happens to happen in. And right now it's happening in ours.
It is, yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the types of vendors that we're looking to expect to be out there?
So there'll be a whole host of different vendors that will be there. So there'll be those that will appeal to the agriculture and rural lifestyle. There will be artisans as well who have booked a space to come and want to show their wares. So there'll be a huge diversity of vendors that are there. Certainly and exhibitors as well, and in demonstrations. You know, there's going to be livestock demonstrations, there's going to be equipment demonstrations, 4-H shows, artisans, I know in the lifestyle tent. Typically, they've always just had one main stage in that tent. And this year, the community decided that they wanted to have something active and ongoing the whole time. So they're having different demonstrations ongoing throughout the day from a variety of what they're calling their creatives. So there's lots to see, there's lots to do, and something for everyone.
That's amazing. And I would imagine that there's an educational aspect to all this as well.
100%. So, I mean, this, as I say, at the root of it is about the plowing, but with the Rural Expo component is about opening our rural community, our lifestyle, to educate people, to show them, help them to understand where their food comes from. It comes from somewhere before it makes it to the store shelves. And so education is really key, and the education committee this year have, as they do every year, I have to say that. Every committee works every year, does a really good job. But this year, our education committee, they've put together a 30-page curriculum connections document.
Okay.
Basically, so that if you were a school teacher looking to bring your students for a field trip, it doesn't matter whether you're in JK or whether you're in grade 12, they've put together a package, a 30-page document that shows you how the components of agriculture fit into each of the core subjects within the Ontario curriculum.
Okay.
So they've put an awful lot of work into it, and you know, anywhere between 4,000 to 8,000 school children can come in a year, and so we're looking forward to bringing them to Dufferin.
And I think that's so important as well. I think that you know, we always take it for granted that the food is in the store and we can just go pick it up whenever we want it. And I think even with kids, they don't even think twice about where it comes from and the amount of work that goes into getting local food and how important it is to support our local agricultural society.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's what the team is working hard to do, and it takes everybody doing it, right? So it's I think there's a pretty exciting program, and I mean this is the last week of August, school is just beginning, and so what better way for a teacher to do in those early weeks of school than to find something fun to get them out of the classroom, but taking them where it's still a learning experiential opportunity, right?
Absolutely. So if someone were to walk up to on the street to you and say, why should I attend? What would you tell them?
I would say one of the reasons to come is it's a great family day out. For one thing, right now advanced tickets are available at a $5 reduction, so they're $20 for an adult at a gate. Price will go up after January 5th. But in these days where a lot of people are watching their costs and may not have done holidays or whatever. This is a good day trip for a family because there'll be food vendors there, livestock, there's children, there's entertainment galore. There are multiple stages throughout the tents on what we're calling the tented city footprint of the IPM. And so there is going to be music and musicians that are playing all week long to suit all the different tastes and genres, featuring many of the local ones here, such as the Orangeville Show Chorus and Itchy and Scratchy. So nice. a whole assortment of our local favorites from around here, but also through the partnership with the Ontario Plowmen's Association, we're bringing in some really top drawer tribute bands.
Okay.
And so if you like the Eagles, if you like Garth Brooks or Shania Twain or Keith Urban, Abamania, Bee Gees, those are you're going to see those as well. And then the Ram Rodeo is always a fan favorite, and so that's a pretty cool way to spend time with your young family if you are wanting to bring them. The stands are always full. There's going to be 150 top cowboys and cowgirls from across Canada participating. The Cowgirls Precision team is going to be there as well.
Amazing. It sounds like there's so much that we could have talked about this for half an hour.
We probably could. We probably could.
But Anne, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing all this information about all the amazing things that are happening. And I want you guys to make sure that you go out there and check everything out. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for tuning in. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
It isn't the heavy trays that make the job difficult, or the fast pace you need to keep up. It's not working another double because someone called in sick.